Kelvin, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about Josh. I mean, you knew he was a talented guy playing at UConn and watching him at UConn. Those of us who follow the league knew that, but did you know he could do what he's done so far for you?
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, there are times that it's like, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to dump it into him and he's going to make something happen. He's been really a go-to guy, not just a piece that adds on, but he's become a go-to guy.
Well, I think Josh deserves a lot of credit for that. He's gotten a lot better since he's been here. Last year at UConn, he got COVID. He gained a lot of weight. He hurt his knee. He was out. Last night was the first time I had watched UConn, and they've got a five-man there. I can't remember his name, but he's extremely talented kid. So Coach Hurley recruited him as a freshman, elite big. Josh being out with COVID, injuries. He just got stuck behind a guy that was playing better than him. And this last year, he wanted to make a move. The first thing we had to do was, get him back in shape, get him in a position where he could do some things. But we pride ourselves, and I give my staff a lot of credit for this. We pride ourselves on player development. There's some teams, recruiting and having talent is how they win, and that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But we take guys like Quentin Grimes and put him on the track to where he's got a chance to develop and sell him on development. But Josh has been a joy to coach. He follows instructions. He does exactly what you ask him to do. He's a great teammate. Is he better than I thought? I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I look at things like that. Is he doing better than I thought he would? I knew he could score inside, but I knew he wasn't in a position to do that when he got here. So all credit to Josh. He's worked his butt off and he's gotten better. We were playing through him a lot, but Marcus Sasser was having an All-American year. And you think about it, through 12 games, Marcus made 45 threes. There's some teams that didn't make 45 threes in 12 games. So when Marcus went out, when Tremont was there, we played through Tremont a lot in middle pick and rolls and zip screens and getting into his left hand half-court sets. But having those three options, and those were our first three options, Marcus 1, Tremont 2, and then we were starting to play through Josh. But now with Marcus out and Tremont out, it's not like we had a ton of other choices. But Josh isn't going to average 20 points a game. If he played against us, we would double him. Some team will start doing that. Teams, he's going to become the number one guy on a lot of scouting reports. So, basketball is just, you're continually adjusting, whether it's because of injuries or because of the way teams guard you. Everything is relevant to just being able to play off other things. So Josh has been a godsend for us so far, that's for sure.
Thank you, Matt. We'll go to Mark Berman, please. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Kelvin, could you share some thoughts on what it's been like for you to watch Fabian grow over these 5 years as on the court, off the court players, all that stuff?
Well, first time I saw Fabian was in high school. And he played on the same high school team with Carson Edwards' kid that went to Purdue. Carson was such a dynamic player. Purdue did an awesome job identifying that kid early and getting on him. But Fabian really never got the ball because Atascocita High School's first option was Carson. Their second option was Carson. Third option was Carson. And if all else failed, the fifth option was Carson. So Fabian, if he wanted the ball, he better rebound it. So, but he was just a center. He had a really good coach though. Coach Martinez at Atascocita. I thought was really helped Fabian, helped Carson, helped all those kids, obviously. But if you watch Fabian shoot a free throw, that's the easiest way to tell whether a kid has upside or potential. Where's his misses? Are they left, right, long, short? Is he all over the place? Fabian's misses were usually in the right place. And again, I'm gonna give all the credit to Kellen. Devin Davis, when he transferred in, Devontae Pollard, Devin Davis, Fabian. I'm missing somebody at that 4th spot we've had, but they've all improved, and that's important here. We have to develop these kids. But Fabian was really quiet. When he got here, we had Rob Gray, and who was a leader his own way. Galen Robinson, Dejan Giroux. I think Fabian did a good job of watching those kids and developing his own leadership style. But he's really turned into a fantastic leader. He cares about our culture. He cares about guys doing things right. In practice, just little things that may not matter to anybody else, but it matters here, is he's constantly telling guys, put your shirt tail in, hustle to the end of the layup line. We talk to our kids about pointing and holler on defense, things that, coaches do. I'm not unique in anything, but it's nice to have leaders that will have your back, that will serve as a servant to the program. And leadership is always, the best leadership is always servant leadership. How do you help other guys? And, when guys have a hard practice, or if I get on somebody really hard, Galen and Dejan were the first one to call them that night and tell them to shake it off or pick your head up. Everybody's been through it. Come back tomorrow and have a better day. Practice is really important here. You've got to practice the right way. Fabian's embraced all of that. So when Marcus and I didn't know this until the after game media session the other day, is Tajay and Josh, I think it might have been Tajay, said that when Marcus and Tremont went down that night, they got a text from Fabian. I think it was a group text that everybody had to pick it up now. We're still Houston. We're still the Cougars. Everybody's just got to give a little bit more, do a little bit better. When I heard that, you just proud of your program, proud of the kids that you recruit, proud of the kids that they become. And that'll serve Fabian well, just like Galen and these other guys when they leave here. And that's why great programs, I think a key element of no great program is how the former players stay connected. They feel a connection, and it's theirs. It's their program. It's not my program. It's the players' program. It's all about them. But Fabian's come a long way, man. He was so quiet, didn't say a whole lot, and now you look at him now in practice. We got a freshman kid with redshirt and Kieran Powell. Fabian's always coaching that kid. Jaywan Roberts, Javier Francis, another freshman that's not playing a whole lot. If Javier was a guard, he'd be playing a lot. He's just a 5-man. We got 2 5s. We just don't have any guards. So we can't say enough about Fabian, Mark. He's why you feel good about what you do. And again, my staff has done an awesome job with player development, and Fabian's been certainly a beneficiary of that.
What about the way he's added to his game, his perimeter shooting, that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, that's the development I was talking about with Kellen. You know, as soon as practice is over, and the players make fun of Kellen all the time, as soon as we break practice, and that's he'll, you know, bring it in and I'll say something that they never, I'm sure I'm talking to myself when I'm saying that. I'm not sure they ever listen to me. But as soon as we bring it in and we have a break, Kellen says, "Fours." It means all the fours go with him. You know, I just looked out my window at 5 minutes to 1. He had Fabian and J1, Robbie Armbruster, Javier Francis downstairs working. We'll practice today from, you know, we don't do a whole lot in practice now. We just don't have the bodies. But as soon as practice is over, fours, you know, Kellen's got this routine that they go through where they work on their form shooting, mid-range shooting, three-point shooting. I mean, J1 Roberts is shooting threes. He's about where Fabian was 2 years ago. But Fabian's just gotten better and better and better. But it doesn't happen by yourself. You've got to have somebody that's committed to helping these kids get better, and that's something we hang our hat on. And Fabian has, and he's had fun with it. I think when kids see them having some success, it motivates them to do more. You know, and he's become completely comfortable. There's been a lot of games out of timeouts. I've drawn up stuff for Fabian to get a 3. If you'd have told me that 4 years ago, I would have crossed my eyes and fell down probably. That would never happen. But now look at him. So credit to Fabian and Kellen for putting in the work.
We'll go to Greg Bailey with KTRK. Greg, go ahead, please.
Kelvin, where are you guys health-wise, and did at least a few days without, you know, games every couple of days? How did that help you, if at all, as you kind of deal with that?
Well, Fabian tweaked his ankle against Wichita State. So Sunday, he didn't do anything Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yesterday was Wednesday. He was he did some no contact stuff yesterday, but he didn't. You know, we'll see what he can do today. I think Kyler is, you know, I don't think we can have him in both practicing games. But you know what, you know, and this is, I think the most frustrating thing for me is that we've always thrived on preparation. You know, call it the chip on my shoulder or whatever. I always felt like we really had to practice the right way and get ready so we could go be in a position to win a game. You know, yesterday was kind of a frustrating day in that, you know, Kyler can't practice, Fabian can't practice, so we have nobody to practice against. So you just work on 5-on-0 stuff. You know, you can't go 5-on-5. You know, we've got 9 bodies, but 4 guys outside of 5 guys I'm starting right now are all big guys. We don't have any more guards. You know, the only other guard in the program right now is Ryan Elvin, who I love to death. But, you know, he's just not ready to be put in a game right now. He's a walk-on. You know, we've had some good walk-ons here. Wes Van Beck comes to mind, who played himself into a role. But, you know, Ryan came in here at 6 foot, 143 pounds. And he's gotten bigger and he's gotten better, but, you know, he's gotten to a point where he can help us in practice. So, you know, we're kind of in a very tenuous position here. It's kind of like walking a tightrope in between buildings with no net. So, you know, as a coach, you just have to change your mindset. It's not about practice for us anymore. You know, we can't practice. We don't have the bodies. You know, when we started, it was, you know, Marcus went against Jamal Shedd. Tajay Moore was going against Tremont Mark. Kyler Edwards was going against Ramon Walker. That's 3-on-3. Those 6 guys really, really pushed each other. Well, No Marcus, no Tremont, no Kyler in practice. So you have Jamal, Tajay, and Ramon. Last year, Jamal was basically a redshirt freshman. He played behind Dejan, so he only played in blowouts, basically. Ramon was at Shadow Creek High School last year playing for his high school team, and Tajay was at Cal State Bakersfield. So, we have three completely new guys. And then you throw Josh in there, that's a fourth. That's why Fabian's been a godsend, and J1 Roberts and Reggie. Our front line has stayed intact, knock on wood. Let me get some wood here. But it's the backcourt where we're real thin.
All right, we'll go to James Mueller from the Cougar. James, go ahead, please, sir.
Yeah, Kelvin, you talked about, Fabian's leadership, and the other day Ramon was talking about how, some of the guards, veteran guys like Kyler, Tajay, Jamal have really helped him as he's been, thrown into a role that he might not have expected so soon. Can you just talk about what you've seen from, that leadership from, even though, you have newer guards in the program, they're college veterans who have been able to, help a guy like Ramon come in and just make him feel more comfortable?
Sure. Well, I just think that speaks to the culture of our program. We have good guys. They really are. Sometimes I have to manufacture reasons to get mad at them. Which comes easy to me, I guess. But they're just great teammates. I don't think you can have a great team unless you have great teammates. We talk about body language a lot. We talk about playing for each other. I'm not smart enough to, I have no original ideas. Everything I do or say, I'm sure I got from somebody else along the way. But I do know a team has to care for each other. Where are we at? Almost the middle of January. Where's the time going? Mid-December, I think. Ramon has surgery, tore a tendon in his right shooting hand. And so he had to have surgery. And he had to reattach a tendon. And the initial thing was, 6 to 8 weeks. Then they came back and said, he's recovering pretty good, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. At the time we had Marcus and Tremont, Kyler, Tajay. You have 4 guards. He's probably not going to play anyway. Not in front of those guys. And all of a sudden, the day Tremont went out for permanently was the day that they cleared Ramon to play. And this shows you how unlucky, but how lucky we are. I look at it as we've been fortunate. We're not crying tears here. I mean, it could be a lot worse. Let's say Ramon hadn't come back. Now Ryan would be our first guard off the bench, Ryan Elvin, the walk-on. But we were really fortunate to get Ramon. His first game he played, I think he played 20-some minutes. He went from not even practicing. I think he practiced one day and played 20-some minutes. He played hard. He went in there and competed. He's not the most athletic guy, but he's pretty smart and he's a great kid. He comes from good genes. We've got 2 players that both their dads played in NFL. Kyler's dad and Ramon's dad. So they have good bloodlines that way, and they're competitors. So, but these guys look out for each other. If you've ever played on a team, what you remember most is your relationships that you forge with your teammates, and those endure. The great programs, players, have group text together. Our kids are notorious for their group text. They're always mocking me about something or some stupid coach said in practice, and they all laugh at it. But that's cool. I think that's what makes our program not unique. We're not unique. A lot of programs are like that. But the best ones have the best kids. not the best players. The best players that are high character. You know, character matters in adversity. You know, when things are going good, character doesn't reveal itself. But when things are going tough, it sure does. And that's where we've thrived over the years here, is that we've had great kids that's been able to bounce back, and they look out for each other.
We'll get time for a couple more questions. We'll go to Mark Berman, please. Mark, go ahead.
Kevin, you talk about Tulsa and getting ready for those guys.
Yeah, they've been a little bit up and down. I know they've had some serious COVID issues, and that's not easy. I remember when we went to Tulsa last year, we were coming out of COVID. We had no idea who was on the plane that day, and John was saying, "I don't think he can play. I don't think he can play. I don't think he can play." So I know what that's like. I'm not sure that Frank and his team even had to practice this week. I think one of my guys this morning, when we had a meeting, we're going over to Tulsa, said they might have practiced Tuesday and then played Wednesday. But you know, unfortunately, that's what we're all having to deal with the COVID issue. You know, we lost Tajay for 10 days to COVID. And God only knows where we'd be if he hadn't come back. But Horn made an unbelievable decision to come back to from Colorado back to Tulsa. He's having an off-conference type year. The Griffin kid's very intriguing. He's put up some great numbers in games this year. He's got a freshman point guard that's really solid. And then, you know, the guys always played well against us is Idowu. I think he had another kid named Igbanu a few years ago that was dynamite. He always played good against us, and Idowu had his best game last night. But, you know, you can't look at a team, and guys that's played understand this. I'm not sure a lot of people do. You can't look at a team, how they play against this team, and project how they're going to play against you. The Tulsa team we saw last night against Temple, that's not the team we're going to see. You know, they're going to play their best game of the year. You know, that's the cross we bear. You know, programs that have sustained success, teams measure themselves against them. You know, we did it when we got here. You know, we measured ourselves against Cincinnati, against Connecticut, Larry Brown with SMU. We wanted to beat those teams because those were the best teams. We were trying to get to where they were. So when we played team A, B, and C, we may be in this position, but all of a sudden Cincinnati comes to town, shoot. I remember beating Cincinnati our second year, and if you'd watched us earlier in the year, you'd have never seen that. But, you know, guys get up to play the best teams, man. Look at all the best programs in whatever league. So we know, you know, look at South Florida the first half against us. I mean, they came out smoking. I mean, they looked like they were on the Amtrak and we were driving a '63 Volkswagen. I mean, that thing was just, they were zipping and running by us. I remember I didn't call timeout. I just took the slowest guy out. I said, "Who's our slowest guy?" Well, that was a debate because we had a bunch of them. So I said, "Jamal, why don't you come over and sit down and see if you can't go in the game, play a little bit harder, son." So I think I put Ramon in, and I'd never seen Kyler play point guard. You know, that's the first time I said he's pretty good. You know, I didn't know he could play point guard. I know he played at Texas Tech, but they run motion. They don't run pick and rolls. We run pick and rolls. So he was pretty good at that. But Tulsa has a good five in Idowu. They've got a really good player in Horn, solid point guard in Pritchard. I think the guy that's a big factor for them is Griffin. They need Griffin to play good. Like I think he had 25 against Memphis at Memphis, and they played 3. but they play great against Memphis, you know, and they're going to play great against us. You know, we're preparing for a hard, tough game. And it's a road game. That in itself makes it difficult, more difficult. But at the same time, Tulsa's got a good coach, they've got a good system. You know, we've lost 2 straight games there, both at the buzzer. And they play good. You know, a lot of coaches bemoan the fact that, you know, we played poorly. Hey, they beat us. Tulsa outplayed us. That's why we lost. That happens. So I congratulated Frank after the game, and we moved on to the next one. And we just got to playing Wichita State, and that's what we're going to do. We just move on to the next one. That just happens to be Tulsa on the road. You know, gives our kids a chance. I think the biggest benefit of this week for us is I don't know how much better we got this week. You know, I don't know. I don't see the 5-on-5. You can't see whether we're getting better. That's the most frustrating thing. But I do know we're healthier, and that's as my assistants keep telling me, that's what's most important right now for us. Is we're not getting better in practice, but we are getting healthier because we can't play 5-on-5 live.